Hey everybody, I went ahead and did something I said that I would never do, and that is purchase an MSR reactor. These things are great, they're reliable, they're fuel efficient, they boil water fast, and there's just really no moving parts, no setup to worry about. They're just simple, high performance stoves to use in the cold. And that's the one thing I plan on using it for, is for melting snow and boiling water and doing it easy. You know, when it's cold out, you wake up, you really don't want to mess around with keeping these canisters warm, sleeping with them, putting them in little bowls of water to keep them running in the cold. In fact, I mean, that works fine. I use it down to 5 degrees, 4 or 5 degrees on a trip, and just put it in a little cup, just a little bit, maybe an ounce or two of warm water, lukewarm water, and it keeps them running nice and efficient. But I just wanted to take all of the fuss out of boiling water and melting snow in the wintertime. So I went with this. This is the MSR Reactor. It's the 1.7 liter pot. It's the middle size. They also make a 1.0 liter and I think a 2.35 liter bowl. So if this isn't too bulky, something I'd carry in my pack in the wintertime, and certainly from carrying or pulling a pulk, it's not going to matter at all. But I think this would be nice and reliable. And I did get a really good deal on this from EMS. There's no way I would have purchased full price or even 10-20% off. It does have a dent in it right here, and the box is just beat to hell, so I'm wondering if it's a floor model. But as long as it works, I'm happy. It does appear to be the newer model. I think the older model had like a flat paddle type of a grab handle here on the lid. This one's got a hole through the center, or a plug where you can put one of those plunger coffee presses, something I will never use. So it's not a big deal. But I know there's a lot of tests for these online. I'm not showing you anything new here, but I was just kind of excited to get it and just wanted to see what kind of efficiency and what kind of run time or boil time we'll get with this. I'm just shaking at to make sure I've got a somewhat full canister here. So what we'll do, I'm going to weigh this whole entire setup here beforehand just to see the efficiency. We're at 863 grams. 863. We'll fill this up the 0.5 liter mark, which is almost 17 ounces. I usually do 16 ounces for tests, boil tests, but we'll go with the 0.5 liter there since that's one of the markings on the side. And it's nice, it's got a 0.5, 1.0, 1.5. Get the lid on, and I'll hit the lights here. It's just kind of neat to see this thing in action. Get my timer. When it first starts there, it's just kind of a gentle blue flame, and then it turns bright red. So I'll get this on here quick and start the timer, crank it up. There's really not a whole lot of adjustment on this thing. If 100% all the way down to about almost to the thing's completely off is full power. There's a real, maybe an eighth of a turn or a quarter of a turn towards the end or towards the beginning where you can, I'd say, somewhat of a simmer, more just a lower, slower boil than a rolling boil. Once the water's boiling, where you can kind of turn it down, but it's finicky. You can get real close and then all of a sudden it'll just go out. So you really just want to plan on 100%, full blast, blowtorch mode, or off. And that's what these are for. They're not for cooking or really for heating up soup even. People will do it and then they'll complain to no end about how it burns their food and how there are better options. Well, maybe for cooking, but what this is for, people on climbing mountains basically, in the snow, in the cold, just a way to heat up water and melt snow and to do it fast and efficiently. So it's already making a lot of noise at 1 minute, and it's sort of bubbling. A bunch of small little bubbles there, so it's close already at 108, 110. 115, it's just about there. And 123, we'll call it 125 for a full boil. And boy, is it boiling. That's pretty amazing. I'll turn it down there. So about 125 for a full boil. And it seems to be working fine on propane. So I'm happy to see that. I may take these out in the winter. Again, if I'm on a pulk pulling that on snow, I could care less if I'm taking, you know, I think empty 14.5 ounces of dead weight compared to, I think these are, what are these? 3, 4, 5, 6, about 4 ounces empty. 6, 7. Yeah, about 3.5 ounces empty compared to 14.5. So I'm totally fine with that as long as I'm getting the benefit of propane. I don't have to worry about it being too cold to run. I mean, liquid propane will vaporize at negative 44 degrees. So that's well below anything I'm going to see. So if I wake up at 0 degrees, you just twist that on, flick the lighter, put the pot on, and I'm ready to go. And the nice thing is the wind doesn't really affect these at all. You'll see when this is sitting on here, all the heat's rising out of the top of that element, so there's really nowhere for air to go and affect it, which is great. Even on the box here, you know, they'll say, you know, 0 mile an hour. That's about right, minute 30 for a boil, for a half liter, 5 grams used. 8 miles an hour, it takes 15 seconds longer and you're using 6 grams. And 12 mile an hour wind, same time, still using 6 grams. So that's pretty impressive. As long as you get that or even close to it, I'm happy. We'll see if I get that 5 or 6 grams here by weighing this whole system here. And I am at 856 compared to 863. So was that 4, 5, 6, 7 grams used? Not bad. You know, I left it on a couple of seconds after and starting up beforehand. I probably could have put the pot on quicker. Probably wouldn't have gotten 5 grams, but it used 7 grams there. So I'm happy with that. Even if it's up to 10 or so outdoors in the cold with the wind blowing, I'd be happy. So that's basically it. Again, that's the 1.7 liter MSR reactor. I was running it on propane there just as a test. And it's also cheaper, so for testing it makes a lot of sense. But typically you use one of these MSR or any type of isobutane canisters to run it. And I believe that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.